If you have ever watched a horror movie and found yourself yelling at the screen, you know exactly what I am talking about. The characters make decisions so stupid, so completely mind-boggling, that you wonder how they even made it to adulthood in the first place. But here's the thing. If these characters made smart decisions, we would not have a movie. We would have a very boring 10-minute short film where everyone survives and goes home happy. So today we are counting down 5 of the absolute dumbest, most frustrating, head-scratching decisions ever made in horror movies. These are the moments that make you want to throw your remote at the TV and scream, "What are you doing?" And yes, there are spoilers ahead. So if you have not seen these movies, you have been warned. Let us get into it. Number 5. Opening the door for a stranger at 4 a.m. Let me set the scene for you. It is 4 a.m. You are in a remote cabin in the middle of nowhere. You just had a terrible night. Your relationship is falling apart. You are emotionally exhausted. And then someone knocks on your door. Not a normal knock. A slow, deliberate, creepy knock. Now, any rational person would ignore this. Any rational person would maybe peek through the window, see nobody they know, and go back to bed. But not Kristen and James. No, they open the door. Not once, not twice, but multiple times throughout the night. The first time, a young woman in a dress stands there and asks, "Is Tamara home?" Kristen, half asleep and clearly uncomfortable, says, "No, you have the wrong house." Normal response. Good so far. But then the woman just stands there, staring, not leaving. And what does Kristen do? She closes the door and goes back inside like everything is fine. Okay, maybe that is reasonable. Maybe the woman is just lost. But then the knocking starts again, and again, and again, and every single time, they open the door. At one point, James even goes outside to investigate. In the dark, in the middle of nowhere, while someone is clearly messing with them. Here's what kills me about this. They have a phone. They have a car. They could leave at any point. But instead, they stay in the house and keep opening the door for masked strangers who are very clearly trying to terrorize them. The worst part? When Kristen finally asks the killers why they are doing this, one of them says, "Because you were home." That is it. That is the only reason. If they had just not opened the door, or better yet, gotten in the car and driven away after the first creepy knock, they would have been fine. But no, they stayed. They opened the door. And they paid the price. This one is frustrating because the entire movie could have been avoided with one simple decision. Do not open your door for strangers at 4 a.m. It is not that hard. Number 4. A quiet place. Having a baby during an alien apocalypse. Okay, let me start by saying I love A Quiet Place. It is a fantastic movie. The tension is incredible. The performances are great. But I have one major issue with it. Why on earth would you have a baby during an alien apocalypse where the aliens hunt you by sound? Let me repeat that. The aliens hunt you by sound. Babies are loud. Babies cry. Babies scream. Babies make noise constantly. That is what babies do. And yet, Evelyn and Lee decide to have another child in the middle of this nightmare. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Maybe the baby was an accident. Maybe they did not plan it. Okay, fine. Let us say it was an accident. But here is the thing. They had 9 months to prepare. 9 months to figure out a solution. And their solution was to put the baby in a soundproof box and hope for the best. That is it. That is the plan. Not to mention, Evelyn goes into labor at the absolute worst possible time. In the middle of an alien attack. While her husband is gone. While she is home alone with her kids. And of course, the baby decides to arrive right when the aliens are in the house. Now, to be fair, the movie does show that they tried to prepare. They built the soundproof box. They had a plan for the birth. But none of that changes the fact that having a baby in this world was an insane decision from the start. Think about it logically. You are living in a world where making any sound can get you killed. You already have 2 kids that you can barely keep quiet. Why would you add a newborn baby into the mix? A baby that cannot understand the rules. A baby that will cry no matter what. A baby that will put your entire family at risk every single day. It does not make sense. And yes, I know the movie tries to show that the baby represents hope. That even in the darkest times, humanity finds a way to keep going. I get that. I understand the symbolism. But symbolism does not change the fact that this was a terrible survival decision. You know what else represents hope? Staying alive long enough to see the aliens defeated. Look, I am not saying they are bad parents. They clearly love their kids, and they are doing everything they can to protect them. But having another baby in these circumstances was not brave. It was reckless. And honestly, it is a miracle that baby survived as long as it did. So yeah, number 4 on our list. Having a baby during an alien apocalypse where silence is survival. Bad idea. Really, really bad idea. Number 3. Prometheus. Taking off your helmet on an alien planet. Alright, let us talk about Prometheus. This movie is packed with dumb decisions. And I mean packed. But the one that stands out the most, the one that makes absolutely zero sense, is when the crew lands on an alien planet and immediately takes off their helmets. Let me explain why this is so insane. These are supposed to be scientists, experts in their fields, people who have been trained for this exact mission. They have traveled across the galaxy to explore an unknown alien planet, a planet that could have any number of deadly bacteria, viruses, or airborne pathogens. And what do they do the second they land? They take off their helmets. Not after running tests. Not after confirming the air is safe. Not after taking any precautions whatsoever. No, they just take off their helmets because the computer says the air is breathable. Breathable does not mean safe. Just because you can breathe something does not mean it will not kill you. There could be alien bacteria in the air. There could be spores. There could be anything. And these are scientists. They should know this. But apparently, common sense goes out the window when you are on an alien planet. The worst part? The movie even shows us that there are dangerous things on this planet. We see the black goo. We see the mutated creatures. We see evidence that something very bad happened here. And yet, the crew continues to make one stupid decision after another. They touch things they should not touch. They get separated from the group. They take off their protective gear. It is like watching a group of toddlers explore a haunted house. And do not even get me started on the biologist who tries to pet the alien snake creature. This guy is supposed to be an expert in biology. He has studied life forms his entire career. And when he encounters a completely unknown alien creature that is clearly aggressive and dangerous, what does he do? He tries to pet it. He talks to it like it is a puppy. Here, boy, it is okay. I am not going to hurt you. And then, surprise, surprise, the creature attacks him and kills him. Who could have seen that coming? All right, everyone. Everyone could have seen that coming. Look, I understand that movies need conflict. I understand that characters have to make mistakes for the plot to move forward. But there is a difference between making a mistake and being completely incompetent. These are supposed to be the best and brightest humanity has to offer. These are the people we trust to represent our species on a mission across the galaxy. And they cannot even follow basic safety protocols. So yeah, number 3. Taking off your helmet on an alien planet without running any tests. It is dumb. It is reckless. And it is completely avoidable. Keep your helmet on. It is not that hard. Number 2. Bird Box. Going down the river with 2 small children while blindfolded. Okay, deep breath. Let us talk about Bird Box. Now, I want to be clear. I actually enjoyed this movie. I thought the concept was interesting. The atmosphere was tense. Sandra Bullock gave a great performance. But the decision to take 2 small children down a river in a boat while blindfolded is absolutely insane. Let me paint the picture for you. The world has been taken over by creatures that drive you insane if you look at them. The only way to survive is to keep your eyes covered at all times when you are outside. Mallory, our main character, has been surviving in a house with 2 children for 5 years. She has a system. It is working. They are safe. But then she hears about a safe haven down the river, a place where other survivors are living in peace. So she decides to take the children and make the journey. Now here's where it gets stupid. The journey requires them to navigate a river in a small boat, blindfolded, with 2 small children who have never been outside before. Oh, and did I mention the river has rapids? Yeah, rapids that they have to navigate while blindfolded. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a boat? Have you ever navigated a river? It is hard. It requires sight. It requires coordination. It requires experience. And Mallory is trying to do it blindfolded with 2 kids who do not know how to swim. What could possibly go wrong? Here's the thing. I understand why she makes this decision. She wants a better life for the kids. She wants them to be somewhere safe. Somewhere they can actually live instead of just survive. I get it. As a parent, I understand that instinct. But this was not the only option. She could have waited. She could have sent someone else to scout ahead. She could have found a safer route. But instead, she chooses the most dangerous option possible. And of course, things go wrong. The boat hits rocks. They almost drown. The kids almost get separated. They barely make it out alive. All because Mallory decided that taking 2 small children down a river blindfolded was a good idea. Look, I'm not saying she is a bad mother. She clearly loves those kids. She has kept them alive for 5 years in an apocalypse. But this decision was reckless. There is being brave, and then there is being stupid. And taking 2 small children on a suicide mission down a river while blindfolded crosses the line into stupid. The fact that they survived is a miracle. So yeah, number 2 on our list. Going down a river with 2 small children while blindfolded. Just because you can do something does not mean you should. And before we get to number 1, if you are enjoying this countdown, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which horror movie decision frustrated you the most. And make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Now, let us get to the number 1 dumbest decision in horror movie history. Number 1. The Cabin in the Woods. Reading from the cursed book out loud. And here we are. Number 1. The absolute dumbest, most frustrating, most avoidable decision in horror movie history. Reading from a cursed book out loud. Now, The Cabin in the Woods is a bit different from the other movies on this list because it is actually a satire. It is making fun of horror movie tropes. But that does not change the fact that the decision itself is still monumentally stupid. Let me set the scene. A group of college students goes to a remote cabin in the woods for a weekend getaway. Classic horror setup. While exploring the creepy basement, they find a bunch of weird objects. Ancient artifacts, creepy dolls, and a very old, very ominous-looking book. The book is clearly evil. It is covered in strange symbols. It is written in what looks like blood. It literally screams, "Do not read me." And what does one of the characters do? She reads from it, out loud, in Latin. Now, we have all seen enough horror movies to know that reading from a creepy old book is a bad idea. We know that creepy old books in creepy old basements are never just regular books. They are always cursed. They always summon something. They always unleash evil. This is Horror 101. But apparently, common sense does not apply when you find a book in a basement. And to make it worse, the other characters do not even try to stop her. They just stand there and watch as she reads the incantation that will literally get them all killed. No one says, "Hey, maybe we should not read from the creepy book covered in blood." No one says, "You know what? Let us just leave this alone and go back upstairs." No, they let her finish the entire passage. And of course, This unleashes a family of zombie redneck torture victims who proceed to hunt them down and kill them one by one. Who could have seen that coming? Now, here is what makes this even more frustrating. The movie shows us that this is all part of a ritual, that the kids are being manipulated by an organization that is forcing them to make these decisions. But even with that context, it does not change the fact that reading from the book was a choice. A stupid, avoidable choice. You know what you do when you find a creepy book in a basement? You leave it alone. You do not touch it. You do not open it. You definitely do not read from it out loud in a language you do not understand. You leave it exactly where you found it, and you get out of that basement as fast as possible. It is not complicated. But no, horror movie characters see a cursed object, and their first instinct is to interact with it. Touch the creepy doll, play the creepy music box, read the creepy book, and then they act surprised when something bad happens. This is why The Cabin in the Woods is number 1 on our list. Because it is the ultimate example of characters doing exactly what they should not do. And the worst part? We have seen this scenario play out in dozens of horror movies. Evil Dead, The Necronomicon, same thing. The Mummy, The Book of the Dead, same thing. We know how this ends. We have always known how this ends. But characters keep making the same mistake over and over again. So yeah, number 1, reading from a cursed book out loud. Do not do it. Ever. Under any circumstances. If you find a creepy book in a basement, leave it alone. Your life will be much longer because of it. And there you have it. 5 of the dumbest decisions ever made in horror movies. From opening the door for strangers at 4 a.m. to reading from cursed books, these characters prove that common sense is not so common when you are in a horror film. If you enjoyed this countdown, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Drop a comment below and let me know which decision you think was the dumbest. Or tell me about other horror movie moments that made you want to scream at the screen. And remember, if you ever find yourself in a horror movie situation, just do the opposite of what these characters did. Do not go into the basement. Do not split up. Do not read from creepy books. And for the love of everything, do not open the door at 4 a.m. Until next time, stay safe out there. And maybe watch a comedy instead.